Morning, Stuart. Let's kick off with National Greyhound Adoption Month in April, which was a success and finished at the Meadows on the last Sunday of April.
Yeah, April was a terrific month in terms of adoptions throughout Victoria. Had a number of special events and activities throughout the month, and that concluded with the National Adoption Day at the Meadows on the last Sunday in April, where we had 34 greyhounds available for adoption on the day, and at least 31 of them found a home on the day, and others have found homes subsequently. So that was a terrific result on that day in an environment that's been fairly difficult. The opportunity also to gather some leads and some other people throughout the month that might be interested in and who have since adopted greyhounds throughout that month and afterwards. So that's been terrific.
There are some changes to how GAP accept greyhounds from industry participants.
Yes, most people know that the current model requires a pre-entry assessment to be undertaken for every greyhound, and they're usually done at various racetracks around the state. So from the 1st of June, that pre-entry assessment requirement will cease. You still have to make a booking, you still have to be on the wait list in exactly the same process as we have now. However, when you get a date, you'll get a date to take your greyhound to Seymour for entry straight into GAP at Seymour rather than having to go through the pre-entry assessment. Nonetheless, everyone still needs to do the same job that they do around the wind down and socialising the greyhound and making sure that they're ready and capable to be a great family pet when they get to Seymour.
There are a couple of big race meetings through April and May. How were they received?
Now, I think the Sportsbet Warrnambool Cup, which of course coincides with the Warrnambool May Thoroughbred Racing Carnival, was again a terrific night's racing. The crowd on course was terrific. The whole weather, thankfully, which is unusual for that time in Warrnambool, was terrific. And I think the whole integration of the way the night went was an absolute tribute to the club, and I think they did a tremendous job. The win of Matlock was a really popular story in the Cup as well. And of course now we've got great nights racing last week with the Group 1 racing at Sandown last Thursday night, and we run now into the Sandown Cup final coming up this Friday night. Terrific racing that we're seeing throughout May.
And earlier in May we officially opened the Racing Operations Centre at Ballarat.
Yeah, it's been a terrific project that we've been open for racing out of for some time, so people have had the opportunity to see that. But we had the Racing Minister, the Honourable Anthony Carbines, opening the new centre officially in early May. That $3.5 million project received 50% funding from the state government through the Victorian Racing Industry Fund. We're extremely grateful for that support, but also the work that the Ballarat Club have done in terms of getting that facility looking first class. We're really very pleased with the way that's come out.
And the following day we celebrated the 600th greyhound through our pet prison program at Tarrengower Prison. How important is that program to what GAP do?
Yeah, well, look, that program, as you know, has been going for a very long time. 600 greyhounds going through that program. They're supplied by GAP as basically having the inmates there doing foster caring and acclimatising greyhounds to what they might see in a home when they are adopted. It's great for both the inmates, but it's also terrific in terms of how those greyhounds find their way through, and then by the time they get to Seymour and ready for adoption, they're absolutely perfect, have been pampered, and as I say, it's great for the rehabilitation of the inmates at the Tarrengower Prison, and so we've had a really long and great association, and I'm sure that's going to continue.
Greyhound track maintenance workers now have a defined career path in the industry through an accredited training program for new and existing workers with GRV. Can you tell us about that program?
Yeah, this program was a pilot that we did in conjunction with our clubs over the last 12 months, where we've had now 4 trainees have gone through this program, and we'll see another intake coming up shortly. We've also got interest from other state bodies about putting some of their people through this program. What's really important about that is these people get the training and formal training from the ground up from the time they commence their work at a racetrack. Their enthusiasm can be harnessed at the racetrack. They get the right education and training, not only just about how to prepare tracks, but everything to do with that role, including OH&S and tractor licensing, and they're getting some formal qualifications now. So this is really important that we create the right career paths for people in that profession, and it is treated as a profession. So we're very happy with the way that pilot program's gone, and we'll have another intake of people coming through that in the next 12 months.
And finally, there'll be a consultation period launching soon regarding changes to local and national rules.
Yeah, well, look, we have a whole raft of national rules coming through Greyhounds Australasia that will be out for consultation soon, and also some changes to our local rules. Most of those are really just tidying up some things. The really important ones in the national space, one of the main areas is some proposed changes to phase out the requirement for ear branding for greyhounds. So there'll be a whole raft of rules that actually take out those requirements, and as we move to alternative identification, secondary identification systems other than for the microchip, then those rules will accommodate those changes.